back again. I have a long list of videos, or topics I should say, of stuff that I want to talk about. Not that anybody even sees this stuff because I don't have any subscribers, but anyways, I don't really have any friends or family either, so this is really the only thing I can talk to. And if people see it, great. If they want to comment, great. If not, whatever. It's not like I'm not used to fucking being by myself. But I have been around people recently, and it's one thing that's kind of been somewhat of an ongoing issue, and I think it's a concern for a lot of people is um, trying to understand somebody with mental health disorders, trying to understand what that person's going through can be very difficult and frustrating and stressful and tiresome for the spouse or other person um, involved. And I got to be honest, you you have to kind of take a step back when you're dealing with somebody that's got, like, we'll just say, for example, anxiety and depression, two of the biggest things. But we'll just talk about depression. Let's just talk about depression. Um, you know, Chances are, if that person's depressed, and if he's clinically depressed, meaning, it's he's got a disease, it's a problem, it's a disorder, it's overtaking his normal thought. Um, what, how you say things and how you approach that person, while you really don't have to necessarily walk on eggshells, you have to be somewhat considerate about how you say things, and most importantly, what you say. Now, one of the things I've tried to tell people in the past is, like, you never want to ask somebody that has mental health or issues if they're okay. Never. That's the big red flag. Don't ever ask them if they're okay, because they're not okay. And the answer is always going to be no. And then you're still not getting any further along. What you want to do is you want to ask the person how you're feeling. That's what you want to do. Just ask them how they're feeling. And they'll probably tell you, and chances are they're going to say something negative. And listen, it's not about, you know, being like, well, he's that bummed out, or he's that pissed, nothing I can do to change his mind. No, you have to try. It's very, very difficult. When you're dealing with a depressive mind, and the the um, the constant impact that different scenarios, people, things, issues, problems and whatever can happen, can that could be small for some people, will be monumental for somebody that's depressed. I'm not even editing this fucking video because I don't even give a shit anymore. But it's not only just that. It's really, you have to realize what that person is going through. That's why this is about understanding. You have to try to understand what they're going through. It's irregardless to how you feel about things, whatever your intentions are. None of it matters, because you have to first off try to understand how that person's reacting to things and how they're feeling about things. It's gonna be trying. It's gonna be trying, because you're gonna be trying different things, and you're gonna say, you'll probably say something. You go, oh my god, it set them off, or whatever, or set the person off, or whatever, you know, um, or they became more isolated, which in depressive, it's more that, you just get quieter, more depressed, more dialed in, more swung up in your own mind, which is the horrible place to be when you're depressed, is to be by yourself and to be alone and nothing but your mind. That's pretty much my life 99% of the day. And it sucks, let me tell you. And you can hope that that 1% is gonna fucking just do everything it can to fucking, like, dilute, or just kind of like push back all that depressive, negative stuff, but it depends on that 1%. I was gonna say it depends on the person, but it's not necessarily always a person. I almost slipped. It's not necessarily a person. It can be a thing or a situation. But nevertheless, that In my case, it's like 1%, and it's not a lot, and it's pretty weak. So, um, you know, you really have to think about, especially if you're dealing with somebody that's open and vocal. Like a lot of the people that are depressed aren't very open about it, and they're not, they're not, they're not, they're not, uh, they're pretty quiet about it. I'm different. Um, I will openly talk about exactly how I'm feeling at any point, at any day, any time, and that I thought it would make a big difference because you're letting people know, look, this is how I'm feeling, this is what's happening, this is what somebody did, and this is how I reacted, this is how it made me feel. Like even if the person had good intentions, which in a lot of cases they do, but unfortunately, it might have a negative impact on that depressed person. And if they don't tell you, well, then you're really screwed because you don't know. But if they tell you, and you know this, well, then you got to use that information and work with it and try to, um, just I mean, I guess try to be more sensitive. I mean, I really think like if you know you're dealing with somebody that's got severe, you know, is really really in bad shape. I mean, you really got to take a step back. I mean, you really cannot hit them hard. You gotta like kind of really try to understand. You got to make them feel like you're really trying, and I don't just mean like fake make it feel. I mean, but really make. They need to think that you're really trying. And if you're coming off as passive aggressive or defensive or argumentative in any way, shape, or form, you're already working against it. You're already turning that person around and fucking pushing their face in the fucking sand because they're already feeling like that. They're already dealing with those feelings. All you're doing is adding to it. So you may do something, or you may try to do something that you think is beneficial or you think is helpful, and it might not work, and you can't get mad at the person because it didn't work. If you're lucky and they tell you like this was a problem or this made me feel this way, that's the biggest thing. Like, oh my god, like if people would tell people how they feel, I mean, at least you would know. But it's when people don't say anything and then they just build it up and it just becomes this big ball of whatever. But I'm not like that. I tell people exactly what they're doing. It's usually pretty. Trust me, if you're doing something stupid, look at my face, or not. Obviously, you're not going to think you are, but trust me, if you look at my face and I have a look like the fuck, then chances are, and it's just you and me. Chances are you're doing something fucking kind of goofy or something that is a little rude or unexpected or whatever. But the thing is, a person that's depressed feels alone. A person that's depressed feels like nobody cares about them. So if you care about that person, you're going to have to kind of go above and beyond a little. If you really truly love that person, and if it's a person you care about, it's a family member, a friend, or whatever, if it's somebody you truly care about and that you love, and you're going to have to kind of go above and beyond to put forth an effort to see that they're okay. Because they're probably damaged and broken and hurting and are struggling. Me, myself, I've been struggling for over 10 years. Now, I recently came off of SSRIs by my own choice, not by my doctor's, and it got rid of suicidal thoughts, which I'm going to make a separate video on, but it did get rid of suicidal thoughts, but it didn't completely get rid of the fucking possibility of suicide. Let me make that very clear. Coming off SSRIs for me, it eliminated the constant suicidal thoughts, which I had them almost every day. But what it doesn't do is take away the ability or the, you know what I mean? Like it pushed, if you were pushed hard enough, it's not like, oh my God, that's never going to happen. He's never going to kill himself. Nah, 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 nah. Don't say that. I'm just telling you that the pills were fueling some thoughts. And now that I'm off the pills, but I'm going to make a separate video about that. So, right, when you're dealing with somebody that's like that, I mean, you listen, there's you can go online and see all the things that you're not supposed to say and stuff like that. But like I'll even give you some real life not real life examples, but just some things. Like if you're talking with somebody and if you're dealing with somebody, like I know me, like I get manic and I just start going and and I start, sometimes I like that almost, like, because my anxiety's kind of up right now. I'm really keeping it down. I smoked some weed right before this video. So, but like, I mean, if you having a person like who I am, and I get manic and I start talking, sometimes it's like, crazy, not crazy talk, but just like manic talk, you know, you should go over to the person and like they're already like, they're already like that. So you should go over to the person, put your arm around them. You know what I mean? Like try to soft talk, bring them down. But if you take this approach, hey, you, listen, I'm telling you right now, you might as well just hit that person in the head with a fucking 50-pound sledgehammer, because they're already having that happen in their head. And if you're trying to get their attention and you're just snapping at them, I'm going to tell you right now, that's the way wrong approach to have to people like that. And I've had people do it to me, and I'm sure a lot of other people have had. This is just informative for anybody. I've dealt with it over the years from numerous people, all kinds of people. This is just this. I'm speaking to you based on experiences over years of time, and it's something. I mean, I go online and I see these things that people say, "Well, don't say this and don't say that," but it's all the same shit. It's how you talk to people. You can't bark at them. You can't get in there. You can't do that to them. You have to take a softer approach. If they're sitting on a couch, I mean, if they're sitting on a couch, quiet, sitting there, you know, staring off into nothing, if they're clearly not connected with the room or people, there's a problem. Something's wrong. There's always something wrong, probably, but it's really driving on them like that. Come up next to them, nice, easy. Put your arm around them. If it's your boyfriend or girlfriend, give him a kiss. Let him know that you care. Let him know that you're there. Ask him, how do you feel? What's wrong? What can I do to help? And if they answer you, hopefully, well, then you go from there. But you gotta approach them fucking easy. You cannot approach a person with severe depression in a harsh manner, any way whatsoever. I'm just telling you right now, it has long-term lasting effects. And you may not realize what you're doing, but I'm here to tell you what you are. And if more people saw this and could engage on it, I'm sure maybe other people would probably agree, because I'm sure it's pretty commonplace. But nevertheless, you gotta try to put yourself in their shoes. Which I know is the hardest part, because I've asked numerous people to do that and they've never been able to. And I've told people, I've written it down, I have made videos. I put videos on YouTube. This is my bullshit fucking mental health channel. But I've put stuff out there before that's gotten views, comments, and everything else. I've done everything I can to inform people about what's going on in my world. And not only that, but what they can do to help me. I don't need a lot of help. I like to refer to myself as simplistically complex. Because, right, I'm dealing with I'm complicated in the sense that I got multiple faceted mental health issues. I have no mother, I have no father, I have no family, I have no friends. I have people I know. I have acquaintances. My best friend, Jeff Dolson, committed suicide on September 24th, 2019. He was the closest thing to a best friend I had. And he killed himself while I was in the midst of some of the worst suicidal thoughts I've ever had in my life, which fucked my head up forevermore. And still to this day is just tweaks it all the time. But nevertheless, it's you everybody's different, right? So I can't sit here and go on about 50 million different ways and scenarios about how you can help somebody or what you can say or do. But all I can tell you is a generalistic is you have to take a softer approach, you know, regardless of how you might be frustrated, even if they're not responsive. See, for me, I'm a responsive. I'll speak to you. You'll talk to me, even if I'm crying my eyes out. I'll still talk. I'll still try to communicate. I've been on my own since I was 16 years old. I grew up without family. I grew up without love. I grew up with a lot of things people should have growing up, especially as a child. But I don't, it's not, believe it or not, that's the stuff that didn't make me or didn't cause me to feel the way I feel today. It was a lot of other things. A lot of it was a lot of work related stuff, but nevertheless, it's really important to take a step back and just try. I mean, it's gonna be tough, especially if you've been dealing with somebody that's had mental health issues for a long time, and if you've been dealing with them, for like months, years, whatever. I feel for you. I know it's hard. I know it is. It's hard on the person. I'm gonna tell you right now. I sit and cry my eyes out because I know the strain I put on other people, and I feel bad about it, and that in and of itself causes me to get upset because I'm trying to do everything on my own. I'm trying to run a business. I'm in the midst of a divorce. I left an abusive wife. I grew up in an abusive household. There's just, there's quite a lot of negative things going, but I'm still trying. I haven't given up. I got off SSRIs. They took away the suicidal thoughts. They didn't take away the ability for me to kill myself. Trust me, I'm not going to say I haven't had thoughts per se, but I've certainly been put in I'll put it to you this way. I certainly have been put in the position recently, and by recently I say within the last few days, where I've been made to feel like I'm the most loneliest person on the fucking planet, where I've been ignored, left behind, and made to feel just like I'm non-existent. And that's the worst place a depressed, previous suicidal thought haver, even though I don't really have them now, is a worse place for them to be. I can tell you right now, last night alone, when I went to sleep, it was the fucking most alone I ever felt in probably my life. Given the state of affairs and how things have come, and I'm shooting this video on March 31st, and I'll be uploading it probably today as well. Just because that's how I was feeling, because that's how I went to bed. I just was feeling 100% alone. I've sat and poured my heart out to people, friends, lovers, cried my eyes out, showing them the pain. The pain. I could sit down with you for an hour and just tell you a few things in my past, of things I've experienced and been through. And that alone would cause most people long-term, lifelong fucking pain, PTSD, whatever. But I got a tremendous amount of pain in my life that I'm trying to dilute. I got people constantly stoking the fire. I'm trying to pour water on it. They keep stoking it. I haven't given up yet. You'll know when I give up. You have to, I'll tell you, listen, one last thing I'm going to say. How long is this video? 20 minutes? Yeah, 20 minutes. Good. I like to make 20-minute videos. It's good for the ads. This is what I tell people. When people that I'm with, or people that see me having a panic attack, or see me, or not know what to do, how to deal with things, I tell them two things. And I've said it for years. Check on me, talk to me. That's it. And by check on me, you're asking, how are you feeling? For me, mornings are the worst. Probably because I'm not medicated, I'm not stoned, I'm not had a couple drinks maybe, whatever. But nevertheless, mornings have always been the worst because as soon as I open my eyes, my mind starts going, and it's like, worry about this, that, this, that, this, that, and it's like a freaking metronome, just ding, 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 back and forth, nonstop. And then I gotta get up, get going, get dressed, get to work, go to work, run a business, da da da. But yeah, all I need is somebody I know I can count on that will check on me and fucking talk to me. And not only that, make me feel like they truly care and they're concerned and they want me to get better. They truly, truly want me to get better. And they're willing to do whatever it takes to help me. And then obviously I mean like a lover, a girlfriend. I don't expect some fucking Joe down the street to give 4 shits about me. I got family members that don't give a fuck about me. What are you talking about? Whew. I just mean like if that's all I ask. So I don't I've never seen like there's really it's not like a complicated like request. It's just like just check, man. You might have to listen. I've told people this in the past. You might have to check on somebody fucking 100 times a day, man. It might be like that. They might be bad. I know people that are worse off than me. I know people that are not half as bad as me and can't get out of bed in the morning. Personally, that I know. So everybody's different. Everybody deals with everything different. So like, yeah, there's people that are half as bad as me but can't get out of bed, whereas I'm double as bad as a lot of people. Yet I got to get out and function. I had a fucking horrible 45-minute, not 45-minute, but horrible panic attack, and it took me, I had to take some Xanax, and it took about 45 minutes for me to fucking calm myself to the point where I can get back to driving. And it just kind of came on. It wasn't anything really, like triggering per se. My whole world, my whole life is triggering. I don't need one thing. All I gotta do is think about I got a list like this. All I gotta do is think about one thing and I'm already in a fucking concerned tizzy, So yeah, so my best advice to you, anybody watching this, and if you have somebody that you love or you're with, or a family member, or brother, sister, lover, uncle, whatever, mother, father that's dealing with any mental illness, try to understand. Try to take a step back. Check on them. Talk to them. Just talk to them. Because chances are, if they're depressed, if it's a depressive thing, chances are they just feel like nobody listens to them. They just feel like they're alone. They just feel like nobody cares. They just feel like nobody loves them. That's how they feel. You can't assume that because you're sitting next to them, they don't think that. It's not how it works. You have to let them know. And one last thing, if they ask you a question, don't answer it with a question. If they ask you, do you love me? Because that's probably a common thing people would say. Don't say, what do you think? Or if I did, if I didn't, I wouldn't be here. That's another little pro tip. So if they ask you something like that, I'm talking like, being in that, if it's a depressed situation scenario, but if they're asking you questions, don't answer them with a question. Because for one, it makes you look stupid. It makes you look ignorant. 2, it's going to make them think you're not hearing what they're saying, and you're just throwing what your thoughts are instead of hearing their thoughts, understanding them, and, consoling them a little. That's all. So, right. So if they say, if they ask you questions like, do you love me? Don't say, what do you think? Or don't you think so? Or, oh my God. Like, just say yes. Say yes. I love you so much. You're amazing. And you could go on to whatever, but don't answer a question with a question. Ever. Ever. Certainly in this kind of a situation, because you're just making things worse. I mean, really, that's all I wanted to say about this. Trying to understand somebody is going to be very difficult that has mental health illness. All I'm saying is, check on them, talk to them, don't bark at them, don't assume, they know things just because they're asking. They assume that you know things. Just if they ask you a question, answer it. Answer it honestly. And know that they're reaching, if they're asking you a question, they're reaching out for some support. They're reaching out for some solace. They're reaching out to feel something, to grab on and feel something. They're not doing it to be stupid or silly or anything. They want to feel something. Because I can tell you right now, they don't. Most likely. And by them asking questions like that, and how you respond, will be fundamental on how they are able to carry on with themselves. I mean, you don't have to walk on eggshells, but you don't got to walk on cinder blocks either. So just do whatever it is you can to try to understand what they're going through and how much pain and suffering inside they're dealing with. And how you don't realize, but you could be the only person that can help bring them out of it. But it's going to be how you approach them and how you talk to them. Good luck.